doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, it looks like we're underway here. Oh, we find the flippers in the sanctuary.
We can see that 3 of our runners started at house and are going to go up to Uncle. I guess I'm wrong already. Catastrophe decides to save and quit immediately and go find those flippers.
Flippers early on is a nice find because it opens up like a couple of locations fairly early on with little hassle involved, and it can be routed into like usual South Shore kind of stuff where you can head over to Hobo and Waterfall Cave right afterwards.
For sure, and if we do happen to find an early mushroom, we can get there pretty quickly. There's the gloves in the escape Uncle route.
Okay. Oh, Invictus did a very, very quick check of the Lumberjack Cave there. I could not catch what
Yeah,
that
I
was.
missed it. Maybe we'll see what Catastrophe shows us.
Ooh.
It looks like a small key to me. So
That's one of the worst items to see up on the Lumberjack Cave, for
it
sure.
sure is. Because there are a lot of keys that you need to complete this game, but there's also a handful of them that are completely unnecessary for pretty much every runner.
Yeah, watch. It'll be a Misery Mire small key, but if anyone does the Aga play, then it's a complete like waste of time, which is it would be terrible.
Yeah, for sure. So we got fylion going in the back of Escape here, finding Ether and a small key of Dark Palace along with 20 rupees. And he's just a boy, checking race game. Was that the Lagmarang?
I think it was, yeah.
Are they going to pick that up? No.
Okay, so it looks like all of our runners are kind of converging on Kakariko, which is the usual kind of routing that you would do in the early game.
Yeah, from a few different directions. That was interesting. Invictus going down into Blind's hut without any bombs. Hopefully we can find some real quick here.
Misery Mire small key, map to Tower of Hera, so we'll find out if that is a pendant or a crystal.
Catastrophe's making the same play, so yeah, with no bombs, that's a rough double dip right at the start.
Yeah. The one thing you have to make sure not to do is forget that you didn't open that wall there. Leaving that chest behind is always brutal. But in the Kakariko well, not a whole heck of a lot, except a bunch of bombs, so this will help with clearing out the rest of Kakariko.
Yeah, hopefully our runners go right back into Blind's hut. He's just a boy is farming bombs now, so let's see what if they have any kind of reaction once they get down into the well.
Map to Skullwoods. Okay, so picking up maps is always a good thing in Keysanity. They serve an extra purpose, being that they will determine whether or not, or show you on the map whether or not the dungeon is a crystal or a pendant, because they don't show up on the map otherwise. So nice little added piece of functionality, I think.
So far this seed has been pretty dry. Yeah, sure, we've got flippers, we've got some gloves, but we don't have a weapon yet. We don't have a bottle, which is always nice to have before you get to Kakariko. We don't have 100 rupees, which is always nice to have. So we know we're going to be coming back to Kakariko to get a few items, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is very, very lean so far. Leads me to believe that that we'll find some things in the like dam area at South Shore. Like then from there we'll maybe go to Eastern Palace. We'll have to see which way our runners decide to go from here.
Yeah, as everybody's pretty much finishing up, and there's the bottle vendor just had a bomb upgrade, so that's pretty much a wasted 100 rupees that we're going to see from all 4 runners.
I guess the only upside here is that it has been fairly map heavy. So we just saw the Desert Palace one in the Blind's Hut there. So that at least gives you some kind of intel as to which dungeons you're going to have to do. And we see that Tower of Hera is one of the 5/6 crystals, and Desert Palace is just a regular crystal.
A couple of Light World crystals is always something I look forward to, because those are generally quicker dungeons that you can get pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree.
And as soon as I say that, we're going to not have the book or the flute and mirror and never be able to get into desert.
Oh yeah, it'll take forever now that we know we have to go there. Yeah. So we got Catastrophe taking a peek at the red meringue and is going to pick it up. Very nice. It's sometimes nice just to have it. Yeah. Oh, no, it looks like something I just didn't quite catch the first time around. He's just a boy there in the forest picking up another pod key. So we have 2 total that we've seen so far.
And there's a big key out on Lake Hylia Island.
All right, so will it be a big key that is required? We don't know quite yet, but getting a mirror sometime soon and then Dark World access, we'll be able to pick that one up soon enough. He's Just a Boy is going to be checking out the backside of Escape as well now that he's picked up the glove. We found the Ether Medallion in there, and I believe the other Pod small key. So those are going to be in his collection soon.
So Catastrophe, instead of going south, is going to go over to eastern, it looks like. Check out Sahasrah's closet and see if they can't go get another 7 or so items.
Yeah, it's a good decision. The Eastern Palace play has become a fairly popular in Keysanity as well. It was always kind of a good play in open and standard modes. But even in Keysanity, people are seeing value in it, and so a lot of runners tend to head in that direction earlier on.
So there's that green pendant in Swamp Palace, which pendant swamp is something that scares me. All those items and one more added to it.
Yeah, it makes it seem like a much more viable play. If we can find that Swamp Palace small key, then it seems like it would be trending towards checking it out rather than skipping it.
So Sahasrah's got all kinds of information on Ganon's tower. Nothing was really helpful, just a compass and a map, but apparently he's been doing his research. So Catastrophe and He's Just a Boy are both going to be heading into Eastern Palace, it looks like. We've got Invictus giving us our first look at the Ice Rod Cave. And as we were talking about Ice Rod there, Ice Rod Cave?
fylion finds it in the dam there.
And there's our hammer inside of Ice Rod Cave. That is a real nice find, especially before going to Eastern. Having that weapon can really help.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Invictus did that before going into Mini Moldorm Cave, so that hammer's going to help out there too.
Ah.
So while our other runners might have to use bombs here... Oh no. Gotta be careful here. So, a whole bunch of junk so far in Mini Moldorm Cave. There's a key to Ganon's Tower, doesn't really help us, and a big key to Hera is certainly nice to have early in the game.
That is. And we also saw that in Eastern Palace, it was a vanilla big key. So that is kind of trolly, but at the same time, like, I mean, Eastern being an early kind of dip for a lot of players, they're just going to pick that up right now. So,
Fylion's making me real nervous here with half a heart. Could be swimming, but choosing to walk. I don't know which way is really safer.
Don't want to get hugged by those crabs. They are brutal.
There's our Moon Pearl in the big chest in Eastern. So there is certainly a giant piece of the puzzle. Oh no.
Manages to stun him there and sneak into the Ice Rod Cave.
It's like worst case scenario. You open up the grass and find an enemy. So we've got a couple runners here in the dark room, the first dark room in Eastern. Trying to pick up that key so they can move on out and go to that vanilla big key location. Catastrophe not really having much trouble in there. Hesjustaboy is having a little bit of a struggle. It's rough trying to do that damage boost strat with only 4 hearts. I don't know what Hesjustaboy is going to do when they get to that room.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough for sure. And meanwhile, in the waterfall cave, we found the flute.
That is a huge find time-wise. That saves just so much for routing.
Absolutely. It would be nice if we had a couple more things to like make that flute a little bit more worthwhile having. We can get up on a death mountain, but we don't really have much we can do up there besides the one chest, I believe, or in the Spectacle Rock Cave, I guess.
Yeah, we can just get that. We can look at one more, but as soon as we get either the mirror or the hook shot, we can get a bunch more. And there's our first Turtle Rock key, I believe.
Yes,
both runners there grab at the same time, essentially.
Yeah, it seems like we're missing just one more piece of the puzzle to make like Tower of Hera and Death Mountain like the right play. It might be something that's in like Escape or something.
Yeah, I tend to hesitate to go to Escape without a weapon, so I don't expect to see it from our runners that don't have the hammer, but you gotta think that Fylion and Invictus are gonna head there fairly shortly with that hammer.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But we got Fylion checking out the Sastra's closet here with the Ganon Tower starter kit, and might make the play into Eastern Palace after this.
Catastrophe walking a long way to go get that 20. That could have been a huge payoff, but unfortunately it didn't work out.
Ugh, and those Moldorms are not playing nice for Hesjustaboy there.
Yep, starting to run out of bombs. He does have the Ice Rod and 1 shot worth of magic. Just gonna tank a hit to get the job done. That's well thought out there.
So we'll have to see something new shortly. We got all of our runners who kind of like doubled back back over each other's paths here so far, but gonna have to start making some moves shortly, I think.
Yeah, I think we're running out of locations. What do we have left? We've got, I mean, Zora's been in play for a little while, although we don't really have, not all of our runners have the money. I guess we do have, one of our runners has 400 or 500. We've got Escape, and we've got the one chest in Death Mountain. I can't really think of too much more.
Agina's Cave.
That was checked by Catastrophe, and it was a big 20.
Oh, that's what he was walking out for. Okay, yeah, right. Gotcha. Yeah, we are running out of locations then. And as our tracker Hahasel is pointing out, after fylion grabs the Moon Pearl, they will have Dark World access, having the hammer and the gloves. So
yeah, that's right. It's funny how
really
differently these races are. It seems like, you know, our two runners on the left are following each other, and our two runners on the right are following each other. But just to make things clear, we do have two races going on. It's the two top runners against each other, and the two bottom runners against each other. Where do you suppose Catastrophe's going here?
I'm not exactly sure. They might be doing the waterfall, maybe looking for a little bit more money to do Zora as well.
That's exactly what it is. They're farming rupees. So he's just a boy's picking up the hammer now, and I think they don't have the flute yet, so maybe they'll make their way up to Waterfall at this point. So maybe we'll actually get a Zora check here.
Yes, we might see that. All right, so fylion taking out from Link's house here. Might go down and do Hype Cave, I'm thinking.
Yep, that's what it looks like.
It's kind of a nice place to start if you are like low HP going into the Dark World. I find you can just kind of zip over real quick and pick up, 5 items. Even though Hype Cave is kind of diminished in its actual hype scale in the last little while.
So something interesting to note here is I think now all 4 of our runners have gone up to the Zora area, but none of them have checked Zora because they didn't have the money. So he's just a boy is gonna check this Zora item, and it could be something important that the other runners will have to come back for, and it might be a long time before they head up here.
Oh, wow. So the Hype Cave was actually kind of hype today. We had a Quake Medallion, which might come into play, the boots, and a bottle, which is our first bottle. Unfortunately, he's just a boy, just getting a little bit of love from Zora for his 500 rupees.
So we just got information that, along with Hera being a red crystal, that Misery Mire is as well. So we
saw on the map check, I think, that Skull Woods was also a crystal. So we're getting close to figuring out what it is we need to do.
We do have quite a bit of information. And we're actually close to getting through Mire, aren't we? What do we need? We need the red cane and the lamp?
Oh, yeah, right.
And the big key. So I guess we're not as close as I initially thought.
Looks like Invictus might give us our first look at Escape here, which will be interesting to see if it's something that our runners might have missed behind, or left behind, that is. I find that if you don't do escape like early on, if you're not kind of like led towards it early, you can often just like not even bother with it for like ages into a run.
Yep, yep. If you don't do it early, I mean, I like to try to hopefully get the mirror and route it in with a pyramid check, but you know, you never know if you even will ever get a mirror.
Yeah, and it's like there's chests here, so there's items and there's some value, but it feels like it just is such a time sink to have to head all the way down into the front part of escape.
So the Death Mountain old man had a red potion for us. So there's another bottle for runners to find. So he's just a boy. He's gonna make the play into Skull Woods and get 4 or 5 chests or so.
I like that in Keysanity, Skullwood's value really kind of goes up. It's a much better dungeon to jump into early, instead of in standard or open, where it's only 2 items that you can potentially get out of it.
So I missed what was in Spectacle Rock Cave, but it wasn't important enough for Catastrophe to grab it. But I did see what was on top of Spectacle Rock itself, and that was a big key. So we're probably getting the mirror before too long here.
Yeah, because that's now 2 big keys that we have seen on places where the mirror is required.
He's just a boy. Takes a death in the bumper room of Skull Woods. That's a tough room with hard-hitting enemies, that's for sure. Thankfully, it's just 2 rooms away from the starting point. And our trackers are telling us that I shouldn't have looked away from He's Just a Boy, because he found the Ganon's Tower big key in Skull Woods.
That is always a very nice item to find in Keysanity. It just means that at the end of the game, you can just rush up Ganon's Tower, which is such a nice, nice peace of mind to have as you're running through the game. I'm also not sure where Catastrophe picked up those sweet-looking Titan's mitts.
Yeah, it's a lot to look at when we've got these 4 screens going on and we've got 4 runners all over the map. But our tracker is telling us it was at the Sick Kid, so you're gonna need a bottle if you want some gloves or some mitts.
That is really interesting that he Catastrophe picked that up before picking up his hammer. So like the way that he's going to route out the rest of the seed is going to be completely different from our other runners, more likely than not, I'd say. Eventually he's going to hit like a stopping point and is going to have to find that hammer, which we saw in the Ice Rod Cave. But yeah, going forward, there's going to be so many more things that are open up to him that he's going to finish before that.
Yeah, Ice Rod Cave is one of those checks that people don't really like to do if they don't have activated flute, at least, which he didn't at the time, or boots, or maybe just if you're low on bombs, which our runners were early on. So Catastrophe's taking Froggy on a little world tour here. Let's see if Stumpy's got anything for us. Just a piece of heart. And He's Just a Boy is going to head up to the bumper cave with the cape. So we'll see if something is worth going after here. But with 2 hearts and green mail, this is a tough check. And it is a big key, so this needs to happen.
So got to find some magic as well to use that cape. There might be some up in the pots.
There's at least one up in the pot. Invictus giving us our first look at bonk rocks. And it's a big rupee pull. So I like runs where the Ganon's Tower Big Key is in a location where you just know every one of these runners is gonna check without any hesitation.
Yeah.
Because it just can just ruin runs.
Yeah, if it ends up in an out of the way place, or I hate when it's like in like the Swamp Palace big chest, but you don't find the Swamp Palace big key for like much later into a run.
Yeah, full clearing a dungeon and having to go back, or almost full clearing a dungeon.
Yeah, and then having to double dip it because you didn't have the one thing that you needed there. Yeah, so finding the GT big key early on is definitely nice. Still waiting on that mirror, though. We've got quite a few different pieces here, but it feels like that the mirror is going to open some more of this run up, and we just haven't seen it yet.
Yep, it looks like Hesjustaboy might jump into Thieves Town to grab a few chests. They just opened it up, at least. I hope they go back up there to grab those 4 chests. Catastrophe is about to turn in the blacksmith, so that could lead to some items that we need.
And I think we just learned that Thieves Town is also a crystal.
So that seems like we know a whole bunch of crystals, don't we? What do we know, 5 of them already?
Yeah, yeah. Eastern Palace, Pod, Ice Palace, and Turtle Rock are still our question marks at this time. Oh, looks like our first sword is in Thieves Town there.
So I think Catastrophe might be bottlenecked here without that hammer, and forced to get these 5 items and then the hammer.
This is good, because it would be just awful if you were running around and rechecking locations. It's good that he remembered that Iceward Cave is a thing that he's going to have to check out.
Looks like Hesjustaboy's working on a death warp, which is fairly easy to do when you're standing in Green Mail in the middle of Thieves Town.
It'll be interesting to see which dungeon our runners really we'll be able to finish first. We see that we've got a lot of pieces, but nothing that says in any clear way like which dungeon is the first one to take on.
Yeah, what do we got next? There's not too many locations that we can check. Are we going to see a early pod dip? We haven't gone to Pyramid Ledge. We haven't gone to Catfish. Those are both available to us.
Yeah, I feel like you're right there, that one of those locations has got a little piece of progression that'll help us kind of make it more clear which way we have to go.
See that question in chat about making a gamble into Castle Tower. And sure, that gamble's there, but it's only one chest without another key. It could be our progression. With no bow, how many chests can we get in pod? Obviously, we can get the first one. We've got 2 keys, so we can open the front door and get a couple chests after that, so that's 2 more. And then a few in the back, so we can get almost half the chests in pod if we wanted to go there. It does mean using a key on the front door, which a lot of runners try to skip.
Yeah, I think so. We're looking at like 6 items, and then if you can hammer yump, then you can get into the other chests in the dark maze. But we don't have the big key, so we're not going to be getting the big chest. Not a bad idea to maybe go for that.
I think it's our most dense location left, but it's also our weirdest play, I think, because it just doesn't feel right going there with 2 keys.
No, in Keysanity, there's something about when you're counting the keys for pod in particular, it's like it's the most stressful part of any run.
Looks like Hesjustaboy is going to give us our first pyramid ledge check. And hopefully we'll get a check on the catfish right afterwards. There's our Master Sword up on the pyramid ledge.
So that's nice, but it doesn't really help us at this point. I mean, I guess for go mode purposes, the Master Sword means that we can take on Ganon now. But we already have the cape, so it wasn't like it was blocking us from getting into Aga Tower. So nice pickup nonetheless.
Catastrophe is teaching us all a lesson here that while you can do a hammer dash if you don't have a sword, you won't be able to hit those pegs. You'll just bonk right off of them. A strange little quirk to that glitch.
We've got Invictus giving us the first look into the mire shed here.
Did you see what Catfish just gave us? We can now see in the dark. It's a lamp.
Oh, nice. So I didn't see what medallion is required to get into Misery Mire. It looks like I'm seeing Bombos, perhaps? Which is the only one we don't have.
That's just fantastic.
Because I was just going to say, hey, a Mire play wouldn't be bad, but, oh, well, never mind. Let's just shelf that idea for now.
Sure looks like Invictus is making the play on pod. With no lamp. Pod logic just gives me a headache. I don't really know how many of these chests are actually in logic. It might only be 3, because I know the logic won't make you make a decision on using your keys. So we may only have 3 chances for progression here.
Still not a bad play, as we have been kind of like running out of locations to check.
Yeah, I certainly like the play, as fylion is checking the purple chest. I don't know if we saw that from other runners.
No, I think we saw blacksmith, but not purple chest. Well, vanilla compass in the first chest of Palace of Darkness there.
And the purple just had 10 arrows in it. I think this seed is forcing us to use a key to open up pod.
Yeah, going in the front door always feels like such a waste, but yeah, in this case, I think it's what we have to do. So it looks like Catastrophe's going back to Zora now. Going to be disappointed to find just a piece of heart from the big fish.
We're going to see Invictus try a dark room here in pod. This one's fairly easy, certainly compared to the dark maze. It's much easier. Gets a small key to Ganon's tower. And some rupees. So we're just down to one more chest?
Yeah, unless we're doing some hammer yump here, which we're not. Looks like we're going right past.
So we'll see if this is it. We're certainly low on locations. If the number's greater than 1, it's not much bigger than it, that's for sure.
Oh!
Look at that. It's
Wow.
our mirror. That opens up a whole bunch of choices. So you've got a mirror. You've got everything at your disposal. Where do you go?
I am going to Death Mountain first, for sure.
Yep. We've got the Hera big key, and we've got all those chests up there with the Titan's mitts. We've got a lot of chests we can check.
Yeah, the only thing we won't be able to do is some of the chests in Hookshot Cave. So, I mean, for, yeah, density and value, it's all going to be up there on Death Mountain, I think.
Invictus working on picking up the old man and getting his potion from him. I'll be interested to see if any one of these runners actually considers the pod logic and quickly gets that mirror. And as I say that, it looks like Fylion might be doing that. He's gonna check the vanilla big key location instead, which I'm fairly certain you need all 6 keys for this to be in logic.
Yeah, this is an interesting place. This is usually the one chest location that I will always leave in pod until I have all the keys.
But because of this decision, he saves a little time and gets his mirror a little faster. So Invictus is going to give us our first look at this big key here. I don't think any one in particular is better than the rest, except for maybe Thieves Town. We can complete Thieves Town if we get that big key, with the exception of the big chest. And it's the pod big key.
Great. So here we are 40 minutes in, and this is going to be our first dungeon that we can fully clear. I feel like 40 minutes in doesn't feel bad necessarily for a first crystal being done, but you might start to think that someone else might have figured this out a little sooner than you, and so you might be thinking you're a little bit behind at this point.
So I looked away when Hesjustaboy was heading into the dark room of escape, and I believe he picked up the red cane.
Wow. I was too busy watching Invictus climb Tower of Hera here, but that's a huge find. Oh, and Invictus finds the fire rod in Tower of Hera, so all of the pieces are coming together fairly quickly here.
So we've got a couple of questions in chat. One looks like it's taken care of. The red cane was in the escape sewers, as our tracker Kippy says. So Skirty asks, what prevented them from doing things before they got the mirror? They weren't prevented from doing too much. They had plenty of options. There just wasn't anything left. They checked everything they could in Thieves Town and Skullwoods and in the overworld. Eventually, you just have to get stuck. And the item that got them unstuck was the mirror.
Yeah, and they did have, in the logic, they had access to the mirror fairly quickly, with the 2 pod keys coming up fairly early on in the siege, and the hammer being in the Ice Rod Cave, so in, like, what is that, Sphere 0 or whatever they call it. Like, it was available to them, but the pod play is one that people just don't want to make, so you go other places before you take a dive into pod, and finding it there, a bit trolly, and but it moves. It helps our runners progress from here.
So Invictus picks up that red crystal from Hera. I don't know if there was anything else of value besides that amazing fire rod.
Nope, didn't see too much else, but a crystal on the board, so that's always nice.
Check out our top left runner. We've got a spike cave play with no magic and only 7 hearts. They're gonna need another bottle.
Oh, this is gonna be close.
Okay. 2 red bottles and all your magic to get a heart.
Well, I guess it could have been worse. It could have been a bomb upgrade or something.
I wonder how comfortable our runners are in the dark. I mean, we know we've seen a few dark rooms. Some players just refuse to go to Catfish unless they have to. And as I say, that catastrophe seems to be headed right there. But
oh, totally. Must have heard you. Must have heard you.
Yep. But we have seen dark rooms from a couple of our runners.
It depends on which ones, we have to do. Misery Mire being on the table here, that's a really tough set of dark rooms to get through. So most players are going to want to have the lamp. We'll have to see what their abilities are in the dark.
And Invictus gets the shovel. That leads us to our second fetch quest after the bottles that we've already taken care of. Map to Ice is a nice map to find. That was a question mark on our tracker, and we'll figure it out real quick. And a whole bunch of compasses. So far, Death Mountain hasn't been a great play.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously
really
we had to go there.
Yep. Ooh, wow, the Swamp Palace small key in Aga Tower.
I don't know if it was 15 or 20 minutes ago, but I know we had a call for a gamble in chat from one of our trackers, Hassel. And that gamble is gonna pay off, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, that opens up, 9 item locations. Well, not quite yet. We don't have the hook shot, but taking a dive into Swamp Palace is, not a bad play for item volume.
Yeah, with how dry Death Mountain was for us, as we get another map for Invictus for Misery Mire, which we don't need, and a key to Thieves Town, which is nice to have, but once we get that big key, there is not too much left Okay, so Invictus has a few choices. They did just pick up the Fire Rod, so that means they can go to Skull Woods, they can go to Ice Palace.
Yeah, these are both good options. I would probably lean towards Skull, seeing as we know that it is a crystal, but I believe we picked up the map for Ice Palace as well, so we can also find out if we need to do that.
Catastrophe's making that play on Pod. They're going to pick up their mirror. As fylion grabs his lamp and gets a little sword slash frustration out.
The big key to Skull Woods out on the floating island there. So that's quite a few big keys that we have seen out in the overworld, just kind of in the open there.
Yeah, we're only missing a couple big keys now, aren't we? But among all our runners, we're only Ice and Thieves Town, Swamp and Misery Mire. Is that what we're missing? That's like quite a few to have at the 45-minute mark.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see where Invictus decides to go, being our only runner that has the Fire Rod at this time. That's kind of a nice item to have. Heading back to do Spike Cave, maybe?
This just makes me nervous. 7 hearts.
Well, full magic and I think a fairy in the bottle there. If worse comes to worse, should be able to make it through even still.
You know, while I like seeing that play while you're here, it really doesn't set you up too well for what's coming next, in my head at least. Either Skull Woods or Ice, where you definitely need magic.
Yeah, that's true.
And fylyon's in the location that I didn't think of course, using the mirror to get into desert.
And we already have the Desert Palace big key, so and he's picked up the lamp, so we've got the fire source necessary to get all the way to the back of this dungeon.
Yep, we can find 4 items and clear it, because we don't have that small key to get the other 2 on the right side.
Just a piece of heart in Checkerboard Cave there.
Fylyon's about to, fylion realized it just in time that he didn't have that small key. So we'll see if he does go to Land Mola's. Doesn't really have a spectacular weapon for this fight, although some would say that the Ice Rod is good enough, since it's good enough for the vanilla game.
Yeah, it might have to do in this case, because yeah, even with the Master Sword or Hammer, like I don't even know if the hammer can hit him or not. It's a long fight.
So Catastrophe just pulled off that hammer yump.
So we'll
have the big key.
We'll get our first look at these chests, I think.
Yep, I believe this is our first look. A piece of heart in one, and hopefully something better in the other one. Just a full heart.
So Pod really not paying out, except for having the mirror in the front half. We haven't really seen too much in the back half, which is unusual for Pod.
Okay, here we go. Ice Rod.
But the Ice Rod just goes that little bit slower. There's a little bit of, like, I don't know if it's lag or just the release is a little bit slow off the bat there. It puts your timing off when you're trying to make those hits.
it certainly doesn't help when you get a little bad RNG. But overall, not a bad fight. I don't think our runners are going to do too much better than that.
We find the swag net, which is very cool.
Invictus has so little magic. Probably going to have to use... Oh, just enough to use that fire rod to light all 4 of those torches. I wonder if we're going to see sword slashes or hammer here, because I believe he still has the fighter sword.
This is a tricky fight with the hammer.
It sure is. The hammer does temper damage, but the hitbox on it is so small.
So having collected the mirror a little bit later than the rest of our runners, Hesjustaboy is heading up to Tower of Hera to take care of that now.
Yeah, this is a moment for Invictus where it's you're thinking, man, I'm wasting so much time in this fight. Everybody else is going to do this so much better than I am. But you got to remember, everybody else is probably going to be in the same position you are.
Yeah, you think about how quick like a silver arrows or gold sword kill on Lamolus is, but yeah, given the variety of items that you have at your disposal, it's going to be a slow fight for anybody at this point.
Hesjustaboy setting up a bomb jump to get to that big chest. Pulls it off nicely and is rewarded with a red ruby. So you've got the equipment they have. Do you go to ice, or do you go to ice, or do you go to Skull Woods?
I feel like I would probably go to ice, as we see Invictus is maybe making the play to Skull Woods. I don't know. I feel like I would go to ice first, as much as I want to like go mode that dungeon. In Keysanity, there's so few opportunities to actually go mode any dungeon that I would get into Ice Palace first to try and get myself into go mode, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'd hesitate to go to ice myself without the hookshot. Because,
oh, right, yes.
Because you can definitely use that hookshot to just get around and to kill the pen gators.
I keep forgetting that we do not have the hookshot yet.
And the big key chest for Skull Woods has the big key for Turtle Rock.
Yo, dog, I heard you like big keys, so I put a big key in your big key chest. I feel like Trolldorm has been living up to his name over here. He's been giving fylion a real run for his money here.
But he finishes the job.
Okay, so where is fylion gonna go then? Is he also gonna follow Invictus and head into Skull Woods first?
Yeah, it's interesting play. I don't think he's done any of Death Mountain yet.
Okay.
Because he went to Desert straight away.
Might get our first look, or maybe not, at Turtle Rock. Well, it's
That's
possible.
it is possible with Fire Rod and Red Cane and one key. You can check a few chests for, I think.
Yeah, it just depends on what the medallion is, I guess.
That's true. It could be Bombos. So if you like what you're seeing from these runners, be sure to give them a follow. I'm sure they stream plenty. There's weekly races all the time. You know, I'm sure they're friendly enough in their chats if you want to ask them questions. This community is great for that, so just drop by and hang out for a little while. So we did get that check on Turtle Rock. It is Quake. So we will see if our runners go in early.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, if you're already up there, you might as well take a little dip into the first section of Turtle Rock.
I agree, because, I mean, you're going to do it anyway. You're not really losing much time checking those first couple chests, because you're going right, you're going left. I think it's a solid play. Invictus in the middle of my least favorite fight in the game, Mothula.
With Fighter Sword, just to make it even more brutal. Trying to connect with some hammer shots there, but a little bit tricky again with that very small hitbox there.
That was a very well thought fight.
Yes, I agree.
For a big key to Misery Mire.
Wow. I think between all of our runners, that is all of the big keys that you need in the game, pretty much.
Is that the case? We have everything but Thieves Town?
Yeah, we haven't seen Thieves Town yet.
And you don't need Swamp, and you don't need Ice unless they're blocking something important. So how do you like that dip into Turtle Rock now once you find the level 3 sword?
Very nice, yeah.
I think that's a gigantic play that will give him a leg up in this race.
Definitely. I mean, the leap up from Master to Tempered is so huge. So finding that sword now is key.
And doing it before you go and fight Cold Stare, before you go and fight Mothula, is just enormous.
Yeah, saving tons of time in just those boss fights alone. So what will we find in the roller room here?
Oh man, this dip was so huge. You get an upgrade mail, upgrade sword, and a heart container. That is just, you've got to be so happy making that play.
Yeah, it's not really costing you too much time, and you're gaining a lot of offense and defense.
So we're going to be blocked here because we need 2 more keys to get past. So unless this is a vanilla key, we're kind of stuck at the moment, but we can check this chest first for another big key to Ice Palace. That dip is a gigantic advantage to Fylion.
Yeah. Let's see what he decides to do next with all of his new goodies.
Yeah, so that just means that we won't have to, or he won't have to double dip Ice, and he'll only have to go back to Skull Woods once once he gets that big key, which is up here. He's on his way to do it.
Oh, is this our first look at K45? Or the graveyard, or the Haunted Grove ledge? Ooh, Castle Tower key.
Castle Tower key could be important, because we do know that we have a key locked behind Aga. Or are we to the point where that key doesn't matter anymore?
Well, we're getting pretty close. We're still looking for a few things at least. So that, I mean, that could come into play, I suppose, the Aga Tower play.
Yeah, so we still certainly need a key for Turtle Rock, because you gotta have 3 to beat that dungeon, if that's a crystal. The Desert Palace key could be important. The Tower of Hera key could be important. We don't need any keys for Skull Woods. We don't need any keys for Ice or for Mire. So I think more often than not, that key is going to be worthless, but it could be valuable.
Yeah, and it'll be in the back of our runners' minds for sure as we kind of get closer to the end. But you know, when you're still missing 1 or 2 keys, you start to think, "Oh, is it that one on the Lumberjack Cave?" And there's nothing worse than having to do Aghanim's Tower at like an hour 30 in.
So here's our moment of truth. Where's Fylion going?
Starting from Link's house, are we thinking that it is Ice Palace? Giving it some thought here.
He's making me nervous.
Yeah. So we got Hesjustaboy is loading up on potions, it looks like. Maybe also making a play for ice after this?
I think so. That makes sense. Although I'd load up on potions before I went to Skull Woods.
True. Which is maybe what he's doing. Good call. Oh, maybe Fylion is going to check or pick up the big key that's on Hylia Island there.
Yeah, you're right. I was wondering if this was a swamp play, but it's to pick up that last big key that we've seen.
Oh, and that map check just told us that Ice Palace is a crystal. So that means we are only 1 dungeon away from knowing all of our crystal dungeons at this point.
So that means one of Pod or Turtle Rock is a pendant that is not required, as far as we know. We haven't seen the pedestal yet because we don't have our book. But we're starting to run out of options on what could be on the pedestal.
Yeah, pedestal hype seems kind of low for this seed, I'd say.
It could be Bombos.
It could be.
Let's see, it can't be Hookshot because of Swamp. It can't be Bow because one of Potter Eastern has to be a crystal. I suppose it could be the book.
Yeah, yeah.
So Fylion doesn't have any magic as he picks up a key to Ganon's Tower. And he's gonna need some because he doesn't have bombos. He's going to need quite a bit. He's going to have to fill up before going to Cold Stare. Hopefully he's got a potion that I don't know about.
I don't know if we've seen him stop in to the potion shops, so... There should be enough magic pickups on the way to get into Cold Stare's fight, no problem. But yeah, never a good thing to have to be watching your magic so closely as you're running through a dungeon like this one.
Yeah, what do we need? We need 2 shots to kill the ice guards in the one room above the big chest, and then a full bar to complete Cold Stare. So we're talking a bar and a quarter, unless we can find half magic. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Hesjustaboy made quick work of Mothula with some very nice hammer strats.
Fylion's struggling with the bomb jump here. He's got the big key and he's got the red cane, so this isn't necessarily needed to complete this dungeon.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the Ice Palace bomb jump gained so much notoriety that everyone seems to do it every single time they go into the dungeon, and in some cases you don't really have to.
But grabbed a couple hearts there from the Pen Gators. That's a nice drop.
We see Invictus is going to be heading into Aga Tower here. We do have one of the Castle Tower keys in hand, so we'll be able to see both treasure chests that are here. The first one we saw was the Swamp Palace small key, but we'll get a peek at the second one as well.
Was it Invictus that went to Skull Woods and completed it already? Because I feel like we've seen 3 runners at Mothula.
I would say yes, because Invictus picked up that ice rod or fire rod much earlier than the rest of our runners. Just 50 rupees in that second chest in Castle Tower, so nothing nothing of importance there. But if we need to go through Aga Tower later, there's that key, small key in Lumberjack Cave, which we still don't know if it's needed or not. I'm thinking it might be a pod key at this point, or maybe a Skullwoods key.
Yep, we're missing a couple Ganis Tower keys, we're missing a couple Turtle Rock keys, but we're missing more useless keys than good keys.
Yeah, odds are in their favor that it's something that they don't need.
Catastrophe with a nice fight against Mothula with the Master Sword. Handful of spins, took him right out.
It'll be interesting to see if Invictus, when they grab the big key that's here, the Thieves Town big key, if they maybe make the play for Thieves Town first instead of Ice. But looks like maybe going right for Ice, seeing as you're right there.
Check out Fylion with this bomb jump that we don't get to see very often. Pulls it off on the first try. That's fantastic.
Yeah, for one that you don't have to do too often, it's nice to see him pull off in the first go there.
Now, mind you, these chests are not in logic, because they do need the hook shot to get across that spike there. But still that doesn't mean they're not important. Hesjustaboy is going to upgrade rock, as it was called in chat.
So I guess seeing as some parts of... Oh, there's half magic there in Ice Palace. Seeing as some parts of Ice Palace might be out of logic because the runners don't have the hookshot, we're kind of running out of locations for hookshot to actually be. It must be in Thieves Town or in Swamp, I'm thinking.
Yep, I think you're right. We still have a couple chests in ice, is that right? Or no? Did Fylion check the big chest?
Uh,
It does
Looks
not
like
look...
he did. I mean, are we
No.
seeing seven
Oh, he
out
did.
of
He
8
did.
so
Okay.
far? Yeah.
Yep. So it was fantastic timing to find that half magic right before this cold stare fight. Right exactly when you need a whole bunch of magic.
Yeah, really paying off there for sure.
Eight shots with the fire rod to melt the ice, and then a handful of slashes for each puffball.
Making that fight look pretty easy there.
Yeah, he did. For a vanilla key.
So Hesjustaboy has one more Turtle Rock key, so we'll be able to go a little further in the dungeon if they choose to.
So with 2 keys, you can get all the way back to Laser Bridge if you steal the key from the Pokey.
That's pretty nice. That opens up a lot more of this dungeon for sure.
Yeah, with those 4 on Laser Bridge, plus the big chest, plus Mimic Cave, that's 6 items that Fylion didn't get when he went in.
I guess what Hesjustaboy is going to be hoping that they find is one vanilla Turtle Rock key, so they can take on Trinex.
So I believe with only 2 keys, Laser Bridge is not in Logic? I guess I don't really know how that works. I think you need 3 keys to put it in Logic.
I guess because is the logic assuming that you're going to check the Lava Island chest if you have 2 keys going in?
I don't think it assumes either one. It makes it so you don't make a choice when you do have a choice, so none of those chests are in Logic, I believe. None of either the vanilla big key chest or Laser Bridge.
Huh.
And that's one of the reasons the pod logic is so crazy, because there's a lot of choices there that can lead to a lot of different things. So you need a whole bunch to be able to get most of the pod in Logic.
That's really interesting about the logic there. I feel like if I knew that much about the logic, it would just stress me out a lot more in my runs.
Well, just because something's not in Logic doesn't mean it's not a good play. I mean, obviously, Hesjustaboy made the choice to go get the mushroom here and a few other chests as opposed to just one chest. So I mean, the play is there. They're all not in Logic, but that doesn't mean it can't be the hookshot or bow, which could be great.
True, true. So Catastrophe with a bit of a trickier Cold Stare fight here, having only the Master Sword, but still manages to take down Cold Stare no problem. Whoa, the hook shot on Laser Bridge?
That is a huge find right there. Only gonna have to go to Swamp once Probably.
Yeah, it'll also make rooting Ice Palace a little bit quicker because He's Just a Boy hasn't jumped into Ice Palace yet.
Oh, was that a death without a safety? It was. That's rough. So what do you suppose is next? We've got Thieves Town big key, right? So is that the play for our runners?
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, we're getting pretty close to having the things that we need. I mean, I see He's Just a Boy is maybe checking Hookshot Cave, which I like, seeing as you just picked it up here in Turtle Rock. But yeah, I'm thinking Thieves Town is the play. I like it.
And it looks like He's Just a Boy is looping back around to do Turtle Rock again, which is interesting. I mean, he didn't have any magic, so he had to go and do that. Oh, going up to Hookshot Cave. I forgot.
Right, now that we have access to those other 3 chests. I was thinking it was the way that he mirrored out of Turtle Rock made it awkward.
Map to Eastern could be enormous.
Yeah, that'll kind of finish off the puzzle here for us. So good to know what we're looking at. So far, not a whole heck of a lot in Thieves Town. Although we've only just seen one of the chests in the back half here. It was a key to Skullwoods there.
He's Just a Boy, maybe making the play on Swamp well before anybody else because he's got that hook shot.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad play. You have high item density in Swamp Palace. I guess He's Just a Boy hasn't checked the Hylia Island spot, which is where the Thieves Town big key is.
I think Catastrophe forgot to grab the key under the pot before Blind's room, and therefore can't check the big chest.
I think we just saw fylion grab it, and it turned out it's not anything of importance, but Catastrophe doesn't know that.
I like how we got 3 of our runners in Thieves Town all of a sudden. That happened quickly.
Yeah. Well, the 3 of them have all been kind of grouped together. They were all in Ice Palace together for a little while as well. It's really just He's Just a Boy who's on his own here.
And that's probably going to continue for a while with that hook shot. Check out this sync we've got going here with blind fights.
Wow.
So did He's Just a Boy just find the 3rd Turtle Rock key in the dig spot?
Yes, that is.
Because he had 2 going in, so he just found 3. So forget everything I said about not being in Logic, because we're in Logic now.
Right. So He's Just a Boy is looking to jump into Ice Palace at this time. We're still looking for the bow and the Bombos medallion at this point. We're running out of locations. I'm thinking that Swamp Palace might have something at this point that we're needing.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that's interesting that we know He's Just a Boy can get there real quick. He decided to go do ice first, which is a good play because it's a crystal. But getting that hook shot could pay off, but it may not, depending on where that third T-Rock key was, because I don't remember. If fylion can find it and get up to do Trinex quickly, he won't lose a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm at a loss as to where he missed it. But hopefully it kind of falls into some of his routing at some point. This race has been a couple of races, I guess, have been pretty interesting because I don't see like any clear advantage or lead, you know, for any one of the runners here. Everyone's kind of stayed pretty close together, which has made it really exciting to watch here.
Yeah, I agree. We've got two close races, and not only do we have two close races, we've got a great four-way, which is always exciting, right?
Yeah, definitely.
There's that third TR
Got
key.
it.
Or
Yep.
is it second TR key for fylion?
Is that this? Yeah, he must have collected the two previous, I would think.
Yeah, it's a little hard to tell on our screens, but I think he's got three.
But what'll be interesting to see if the hook shot is like a required item, if in fact a progression item, the bow or the Bombos medallion is in the back half of Swamp, how long will it take our runners like fylion or Invictus to go back up to Turtle Rock, having been already up there and done the little first half dip? It's such a time sink to get all the way back up there that they might put it off for a little while.
Yeah, it is. This is definitely interesting that our runners on the right side of the screen have that Swamp Palace key, which we see fylion using. But He's Just a Boy has the... Oh, and there's our last big key. fylion grabs it in the first chest of Swamp. It is the Swamp Palace big key.
Yeah, so heading up to Castle Tower is what is kind of stalling out He's Just a Boy and Catastrophe from taking a dive into Swamp Palace. Interesting.
Invictus struggling with the hammer hump a little bit. See if he gives it a few more tries or if he decides enough is enough. There it is.
Wow, very nice.
Oh, and there's our last sword. Right? fylion hasn't been to that chest yet.
No, you're right.
So we've got a few chests here in Swamp that we know at least He's Just a Boy has access to all of Swamp now. We've got the two chests on the right side of Desert. And at some point, we gotta find Bombos. It's there somewhere.
Yeah, we're running out of locations unless we start getting more like fetch-related things or like the book, so we can start checking tablets. Catastrophe picking up that Castle Tower key in Cave 45 there might send him in that direction right away. So that might have been what was preventing them from checking out Castle Tower in the first place.
Yep, sure looks like that's the play for. If there's a bright side to go into swamp without the hookshot, it's that you can't flood the key.
Yeah, right. I think what will be like really bad news for fylion here is if there is one of the progression items here on this left side, but like so the bow or bombos, but the other one is in the back half, which he can't access at this time.
Yeah, that does feel like it'd be pretty awful, doesn't it? He's Just a Boy misses the spin on Cold Stare, but with the cape and half magic, should be able to take care of this fight fairly quickly.
So we're coming up on the last chest that fylion can check at this time. A useless small key to Skull Woods.
Yeah, so what's left? Other than T-Rock, I don't know if he's been back to Desert.
Yeah, that right side desert should be open to everybody now, so that's 2 more items real quick you can knock off.
We're getting a mushroom check from He's Just a Boy. This could be big for us. If by big, I mean 5 rupees.
Yeah, of course, right? Yeah. Huge. Game changer. So it looks like He's Just a Boy is probably going to be doing the Thieves Town play now. He's our only runner that has the hook shot, but is the only one that is refusing to go into swamp and clear it out for us. So we're gonna have to wait and see what is in the back half, I guess.
Yeah, he needs to make his way into Castle Tower, right, to get that small key.
Ah, that's right. Yes, that is exactly why he has not done that yet.
Is fylion making the Aga play?
Did we find the second tower key?
Oh, good point. No.
But he's found the first one, so now he's gonna go check that second chest
The second
in
chest
the darker room there.
that's just got money in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thankfully, this is a quick check. It certainly takes a lot less time than going up the whole tower.
Yeah, this has got us. This seed is starting to probably frustrate our runners a little bit. You know, with 2 big items that they need to progress, just out of reach, and no one's found them yet. You're starting to run out of locations, and you're kind of with a whole bunch of blanks, pretty much. 3 of our runners looking for that hook shot and unable to find it, and He's Just a Boy not able to find the Castle Tower key to get up, or at least the thought, at least, to get into the Swamp Palace small key, which is in Aga Tower.
Isn't the randomizer great?
Sure is. What a blast. So I'm guessing that fylion has a couple extra pod keys now, thinking to clear out a little more of this dungeon, which I guess is not a bad idea.
Yeah, looks like he picked up one. So he's gonna choose where to use it. Probably go get his butter.
Yeah, gonna head towards the back half for sure, having used his previous 2 keys just on this front section.
Oh yeah, he still needs another one if he can't do the hammer jump.
So it looks like Invictus might be making a play for Turtle Rock here. Maybe also forgetting that they don't have the hookshot yet.
That's just gotta be a panic feeling right there.
Yeah, trying to hustle to get over to Turtle Rock and then realizing you have to go the long way around. Brutal.
So fylion with that hammer jump. See if you can pull it off. Trying it from the top, which gives you a little more time. But if you don't make it, you do have to reset by going down the stairs, I believe.
Yes, that's what you have to do.
So Hesjustaboy finishes up Thieves Town. And I don't know what's left. Let's see. Can't do much in Swamp without that key. Has already done most of Turtle Rock. Can't do anything in Eastern. Graveyard Ledge it is.
Yeah, Hesjustaboy has got to be running out of spots at this point. And he's got the Castle Tower small key, so, you know, that I guess it's just one of those locations that he's perhaps forgotten, or it's going to be the last place.
Yeah, potentially that small key behind the lumberjacks is in his head, and he knows that to get that he needs another Castle Tower key.
So he's holding off on going up there at all unless he can like get all the way through it.
Yeah, potentially. There's Eastern. Is the first look at Eastern, it is a crystal. So that gives us all the information we need. Pod and Turtle Rock and Swamp are our 3 pendants.
So I wonder which of the 2 items that our runners are missing we're going to find first. Is it going to be Bombos or is it going to be the bow? I'm thinking that the Bombos medallion is going to be in like the back half of Swamp there.
And I'm going to pretend like I'm in chat, and I'm hoping that the Bombos medallion is on the pedestal.
Yep, it could be. Oh my.
Invictus is another one of our runners having to take the long way around the torch room in Turtle Rock. That's what you have to do if you don't have the hookshot. So it certainly looks like we're going to get a couple hookshots here from our runners on the right side. And Catastrophe may also be making the play into Turtle Rock. So we're going to see a real close race here. This is great.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, Catastrophe and Invictus are basically in lockstep here. They have the same amount of crystals, more or less the same amount of locations checked around the world. So, yeah, this is just a neck and neck race between our two bottom runners, and it's a little harder to see with Hesjustaboy and fylion kind of where they stand, but they're kind of going to hit the items that they are missing, respectively, like around the same time, I would think.
Yeah, I think fylyon's in a little better shape because he may not have to double dip Turtle Rock. He's got the keys to get to the back to get to Trinex, I believe. So the only thing he can, if he skips that vanilla big key chest, which he already has, and if that doesn't have anything in it, which I mean, it could have the bow, it could have bombos, we don't know. It could have the powder, which leads to those. If he doesn't need that chest, I think it's a decent advantage for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Hesjustaboy's making that play. Gonna pick up his swamp key and probably go straight there.
Yeah, having cleared basically everything else, it's going to be the first thing that he goes to, and with able to get full access to the back there, hopefully we'll find something progression related. So yeah, I'm really excited to find out what because I have to assume that the back half of Swamp is where we're going to find the next thing. I'm on pins and needles here, trying to figure out like which one it's going to be and how the rest of this race is going to play out.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we have to find one of a couple items. There are, what, 4 items we could find? We could find the bow, we could find bombos, we could find one of our 2 fetch quests remaining, powder or book. It feels like one of those has to be back there. Or on Sahasrahla with the green pendant.
Right, yeah.
Although, Hesjustaboy took a death on Laser Bridge, right?
Yes.
Did he finish it?
Finish Turtle Rock or Laser Bridge?
Laser Bridge.
I
Maybe
don't know.
these chests are new to us. Okay, our trackers are saying that he did finish it, so that's nice. So here's that advantage for fylion, that he's got the key to get to Trinex.
So it would be pretty rough if there was an item on Trinex here.
Do you see this? Fylyon's trying to fake powder an anti-fairy.
Oh, wow.
I've never seen anyone do that. That is awesome. So for those of you who don't know, if you run out of magic and then try to use the red cane and then switch to the mushroom while it's making that noise, it uses powder for you. Because the game doesn't really know that there's a difference between mushroom and powder since they take up the same inventory slot.
And with
that was awesome.
sword,
I love
wow.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool. You don't see that very often. Like used out in the wild like that.
I mean, I've been watching people run this game for a good 6 or 7 months or so now. It's pretty rare that we see something new. I mean, even the fake powder glitch was only discovered a handful of months ago. You know, people have been running this game competitively for years, and it was just figured out. And to find something like that, it's just so great that we see something new.
So, nothing on Trinex, unfortunately for Fylion, but now he knows that at least. Peace of mind. With that hookshot, going to go to Hookshot Cave and then bust a move over to Swamp Palace as soon as possible, I'd imagine.
He's just a boy is skipping left side of Swamp. You know, maybe he'll go back after defeating the boss, but it's an interesting play right off the bat.
Yeah, we've seen those chests, so we know that there's nothing there. But yeah, when you're running a race and you're still missing a couple items, it's risky to skip that left side.
There's our bombos.
All right, now we're talking.
So that gets us into Meyer. And Meyer's got 8 chests and is our second red crystal. So that's 2 more chests. So there's 10 chests plus the boss here to find a bow. And in case you missed it the first time, Fylion is setting up that fake powder again. So here we go, just gonna use the red cane. It's gonna error on him, open up to mushroom. You don't have to use the mushroom, just make it open. And it pretends you're using powder.
All for a worthless Misery Meyer small key. So he's just a boy taking down Argus here. We'll see what he is holding for us. Just a piece of heart. So Bombo's medallion was what we were looking for, and we'll probably head over to Misery Meyer right after this, unless he does the drop off at Sahasrahla with the green pendant first.
With Meyer being a crystal, I would go there first, but obviously I'm not the one in this race, and I'm not the one looking at my clock that says 143 and still have a few crystals left to get.
Yeah, you pick up that Bombo's medallion, you're probably going to hustle over to Meyer and get it done as soon as you can. And especially seeing as Eastern Palace is your last crystal that you're going to need then, checking Sahasrahla when you're over in that area, if he drops the bow then it's not bad timing.
Yeah, that's an absolutely fantastic point. So probably going to see Meyer, if bow, then go to Eastern. If not, maybe Fat Fairy into Sahasrahla and Eastern.
Yeah.
Those got to be there somewhere, unless we find the book. So at this point, Pedestal is dead, right? Because the only thing we're looking for is a bow. So we don't need any keys.
So both Invictus and Catastrophe are going to be checking out Hookshot Cave and then likely joining Fylion in Swamp Palace there. The three of them still staying pretty close together.
But he's just a boy. Finding that hookshot quite a bit earlier has given him a decent-sized lead, I'd say.
Yeah, we're seeing that really pay off now. It seemed like Fylion was still kind of pretty close, and he still is. But yeah, that hook shot early has really kind of come into he's just a boy's favor there.
But he does still have to make his way up to Trinax.
But I think it's a pendant, isn't it?
Oh, good point. Yeah. Yep.
our other runners, I guess, having been able to defeat Trinex, like, will have peace of mind that it was nothing. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll find the boat somewhere along the way here, and then we'll be kind of like good to go. Or like right there,
right there. So that is go mode for He's Just a Boy. Grab this key right here and go. Head over to Eastern and off to Ganon's Tower.
So if fylion maybe just decides to mirror out after picking up the Bombos medallion, that might save him some time, help him catch up a little bit. Not really a common play, but if he does go for it, it'll help him catch up a little bit.
So it looks like he's going to complete Swamp, which is a solid play.
Yeah, the Argus fight isn't a particularly long one, especially with the butter sword. So, yeah, why not? And if you're already in, you might as well just finish it out. Bo could be here, so.
So it is clear that He's Just a Boy is ahead of fylion. That we know. What we don't know is how experienced they are with silverless Ganon strats. That could equalize things quickly.
Yeah, it really will come down to execution at this point. So with Vitreous going down, He's Just a Boy is just going to be heading over to Eastern Palace next, and will soon be on their way to Ganon's Tower.
To answer Magpie Maiden in chat, the bow is in the big chest of Misery Mire. Where is fylion going? Checking the green pendant. And doing it in the Dark World in case it's pod key?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this.
As Invictus grabs that Bombos medallion slightly before Catastrophe.
Yeah, what other chests is fylion looking for here? He's got one more key, so
he can check the spike room in the very back.
Right.
With that extra key.
Huh. Interesting gamble here, I think.
Yeah, it is. But, when you're behind, or at least when you think you're behind, these runners don't know if they're ahead or behind, because they don't get to see what each other's doing. But if you feel you're behind, sometimes you just gotta make a play, and you hope it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's in that respect, yeah, we're at, an hour 50 in. Nobody has dot donned, and so why not check out that one kind of trolley location in pod first, and hope that it could be there, the item that you're looking for. So Invictus is heading towards Misery Mire, and Catastrophe is not far behind, just finishing up the Argus fight. So as long as they head for Mire right away, this race will still be neck and neck.
It sure will be. The major difference I see, which I don't know if this is really major, is the sword difference. Invictus does have butter over that tempered sword from Catastrophe. Um, that is helpful, certainly in the Ganon fight. It can shave seconds, which at this point, this is looking more like a seconds instead of minutes type of race.
Yeah, could definitely come up pretty big having that extra little bit of power.
And we have not seen the silvers from anybody yet. So it'll be interesting to see if we check chests on our way up through Ganon's tower.
Yeah, probably not going to see too much of the Ganon Tower basement. Maybe just the first two on the right, maybe the torch I've seen some people do. But yeah, I would be looking at a couple of chests on my way up, just to hoping that I might see the silvers.
Yeah, I think I would check exactly the 3 you said, plus the 4 going up, and that's about it.
Yeah.
As Hesjustaboy is about to enter Ganon's tower, let's hear it for Willer J. Bradley a little bit, throwing this restream together at the last second. We're seeing 2 great races here. These runners deserve to be seen like this. This is fantastic.
And also thanks to our trackers who joined in to help get this production up and running. Hahacell and Kippy00. Excellent work, guys, on the tracker today.
So I think Hesjustaboy is a little more confident than I am with silverless Ganon strats, not checking anything in the basement.
Oh, wow. So Catastrophe, picking up the bow, realized that they were in go mode and stopped checking all other chests, whereas Invictus is still kind of searching around for things, maybe looking for silver arrows, and now it's actually put him behind.
Yeah, he's even going over to check left side here. So fylion gets his 6th crystal. He will head straight over to Eastern to finish that up real quick before he heads up to Ganon's tower.
We've got Hesjustaboy making his way through the final rooms of the gauntlet, heading over to the Land Molus 2 fight.
Something of note, we don't have powder from Hesjustaboy or fylion or Catastrophe, but it was picked up by Invictus just recently. So, this isn't the easiest tower to climb, and having that safety item is nice to have.
That is true, because I mean, like, the The gauntlet is grueling. Every single room here, there's enemies that can do big damage. So, yeah, definitely a nice little safety item to have. Plus, our runners haven't been to the potion shop in quite a while. I don't think that they've used too many, so they could still have some in reserve. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's where the powder can kind of make a bit of a difference.
Yeah, our trackers are making a great point in chat. There is a very good chance Catastrophe doesn't know all of the crystals at this point, and is searching to get that TR key to be able to complete that.
Oh.
Which I suppose that shouldn't matter at this point, because he just, I mean, he saw that that was a crystal. You might as well, you've got the bow, you might as well go over to East, finish it up. Oh yeah, I said the wrong name there. Thanks, Hassel. It's Invictus is the one that full cleared Meyer here.
So he's just a boy, not even checking any of the chests up at the top here. I mean, you're getting close to the 2-hour mark, and you're just thinking every second's going to count. That dot down's going to come in unless I, really book it. So I understand.
He's gonna need that blue rupee though.
Definitely clutch.
So here we go into Aga 2. He takes 6 hits before we can get to Ganon.
That should count as a double there.
Fylion finishing up his last crystal. He will be heading straight up to Ganon's tower. With a good handful of minutes to make up.
So as long as Invictus goes right to, oh, I think just found out there that Eastern Palace is in fact the last crystal. So we'll be heading right over there now. So still a really close race on the bottom here, and we've got He's Just a Boy heading into the Ganon fight here.
Yeah, we're, give or take a few seconds, we're about a minute apart here on the bottom. That's a fantastically close race in even in open mode, but especially in Keysanity.
So He's Just a Boy already into phase 3 here. Had some blue goo there, so filled up.
Pretty important to get the torch glitch here. It's just leads to a much easier silverless fight. So shortly after this, the torch goes out. He needs to light it before the torch on the right goes out, and he gets it. So now it's what, 12 spins?
That is correct. And we saw from Ganon's message there that the arrows were in his tower. So if anyone stops to take a quick look, they might luck out and find them.
That could be the difference in the match on the bottom, that's for sure. He's Just a Boy is doing quite well so far. Dodge the fire bat. Spin to hit.
Serverless Ganon is not always easy, but if you can kind of get into a bit of a rhythm with it, then it works out pretty well.
And there we go. Ganon goes down. He's Just a Boy made that look a lot easier than I would have, that's for sure. And He's Just a Boy is finished with an official SRL time of 2 hours and 14 seconds. Meanwhile, fylion is making his way up the gauntlet, just a couple minutes behind, a real close race.
So we'll be getting He's Just a Boy in to have a little chat in just a minute or two. In the meantime, we'll keep watching fylion finish out here, as well as our bottom race, which is still anyone's game here.
Yeah, something to note. I mean, we know that neither runner has silvers. Catastrophe didn't pick up half magic in Ice Palace.
So no half magic and the tempered sword here. A couple things that are going to be working against him.
Yeah, little things that give seconds here and there when you're maybe a minute or so ahead makes for a great race. So
looks like... go ahead.
So as Catastrophe's making his way across the Ganon Ball run, as I've heard it called, Invictus is making his way into Ganon's tower. We'll see if either one of them checks a couple chests on the way up. I certainly would if I didn't have powder or silvers. I'd be looking.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm guessing after seeing the dot done come in from He's Just a Boy, both Invictus and Catastrophe are probably thinking that they need to also hurry up, try and win their race.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody use the cane in the gauntlet before, but Catastrophe's making it look easy.
And we're now joined by He's Just a Boy. Congrats on the win, GG.
Thank you, GG. That was quite the scene.
Yeah, it sure was. Give us a couple thoughts, kind of initially here. What would you have to say about it?
Well, I thought my 2 deaths directly in a row in Skullwoods was pretty entertaining. I wish I would have went to Ganon earlier. That one got me.
Definitely, but I mean, you grabbed the hook shot much sooner than any of the other runners. So we saw you go for that laser bridge play, and it really paid off. The Swamp Palace key kind of then trolled you after that, but
yeah,
really
and when we say much sooner, we're talking maybe a half hour sooner than the other 3 runners.
Oh wow! I mean, I didn't want to go to Turtle Rock too much either, but you just gotta make those plays. Turtle Rock and Ice Palace, they always got stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that. Seems to be the rule.
As fylion finishes up Aga 2, we've got Catastrophe making his way into the torture room, and Invictus with a little map check before he gets to Landmo 2.
So coming off with the win here, that puts you at 3-2. So finishing out the tournament with a winning record, was that kind of a goal coming into it, or what were you thinking coming into this tournament?
Yeah, I wanted to finish 3-2 ideally. like going 4-1 would have been awesome to make that playoff match. I knew I pretty much wouldn't win the playoff match. I had
There's
way
going to be
too many
so
good
many
guys in
good
there.
people. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't get too many wins over top players, so I'm happy to take what I can get.
Nice, nice.
So I'd like to point out that Catastrophe was in the upper torch room in Ganon's tower and did not have enough magic to use the fire rod. Had to resort to lamp strats on the 4th torch. Just got it.
Yikes, it's really getting close in this bottom race for sure.
It really is.
So, he's just a boy. Are you planning on entering into the spring tournament?
100% absolutely.
That's what I want to hear.
Wouldn't miss it. Yeah, standard and open, I love that so much more than Keysanity. I'm kind of happy Keysanity's coming to an end.
Yeah, it's not the mode for everyone, that's for sure. I can understand that.
Full clear sanity. Seems what I call it.
Yeah.
So here's, Invictus is behind a little bit, but he's got the powder. He was able to just refill his hearts right there. He's at 16 hearts going into Moldorm 2, while Catastrophe's at 3 hearts starting up Aga 2. So these little advantages that Invictus has in weaponry might pay off. This is a very close race.
This is close. This is a good race. Pretty evenly matched, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The big differences here, Catastrophe doesn't have the Butter Sword, which I believe was the sword in the big chest and pod. And there we go, as we've got Fylion finishing up with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 14 seconds. GG's to Fylion. I think this race here on the bottom is the closest race I've seen in this tournament so far.
It's the closest one I've been able to commentate on, so this is really excellent.
So Catastrophe just finished up with Aga 2. Invictus is a hit or two away from it. Maybe one more cycle here. And has that Butter Sword advantage.
This could come down to who's better at Silverless Ganon.
Yeah. So Catastrophe using Cape Strats here in Phase 2, trying to get as many hits in as possible. Not a bad idea given that they have the Tempered Sword only.
But without half magic, you gotta make sure you've got enough to light that torch a handful of times.
Yeah, we are not sure about potion status at this point, so hopefully they've got something in reserve.
We know they recently used one to fill up their health. As we are joined by Fylion. GG's.
GG. And congrats to He's Just a Boy.
Thank you. GG, man.
So I'm not going to be rude to you here, but we got a great race on the other half, so we're going to focus on that here. They're both fighting Ganon.
Yeah, I just loaded up the stream. Let's watch that.
So Invictus is getting close to getting to the silverless part. Catastrophe's already got a handful of hits in.
Execution is looking pretty good on Catastrophe's part. As long as he doesn't miss too many of the swings, I think he might just take it.
And they've probably both seen two people finish, but they know that they're racing each other, so the nerves might be going here. This is great. Catastrophe is out of magic almost, but it did look like he had a blue potion.
Whoa, and that's it.
And that'll do it. What a fantastic race.
Jeez, that came in close.
Yeah.
So Catastrophe is done with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 21 seconds. GG's to Catastrophe. So as we watch Invictus finish up here, what'd you think of that seed, Fylion?
It wasn't too bad. There was a certain point where I was pretty sure I was behind just because I put off Meyer and T-Rock for too long at the end. But overall, it wasn't too nasty, aside from the lack of health for like the first 45 minutes. Then I got blue mail, and then all the hearts came, and it was good. But until that point, it was a bit dicey.
So really the biggest difference we saw in this match was your opponent went into Turtle Rock with one extra key, being able to get to Laser Bridge. Besides that, it was just incredibly close the whole way.
Yeah, I thought about going back in when I got that second key, and then I kind of just decided not to. Decided to put it off, and the third key came up relatively soon, and unfortunately, Turtle Rock's just too far away for it to be worth going back, or so I thought.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I picked up my third key right after I left
Womp.
Turtle Rock.
Not desert.
Ooh,
Eastern.
and
Not
yeah,
Hera.
Hey guys,
Hey.
Catastrophe and Invictus. GG's on a fantastic race, you guys.
Thank you very
And
much.
GG, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, so all four of us got 210 basically. Wow. That's something. And not sub 2, although you only missed it by 14 seconds. So
Close.
yeah, all of us were in 10 minutes. Wow.
That's pretty good racing.
Yeah, when I think I was headed to GT right when the first person finished, and when I was heading to GT and nobody had done yet, I'm like, wait, but I checked a lot of spots, but yeah. But that's the point where I started to feel good again, because at the point I made some early crazy plays, like digging up a key for Turtle Rock in the Grove, and I'm like, why did I do that? Well, good thing I did. But then I left some items behind in Ice Palace because I didn't have any keys. Those were on Victorious and Cold Stare himself, so of course I couldn't check Ice Palace. And then I started looking at my tracker, and I'm like, well, I didn't finish Pod, I didn't finish, and then I'm like, oh, I need a bow. Where's the bow? Where's the bow? And so I started to feel like, oh, this isn't good. But,
So,
did you guys have the same experience?
well, the one thing I found, I didn't ever find a map for Turtle Rock or for Pod, and
Same.
so I ended up killing Trinex because I thought he might be a crystal, and that actually played into my decision making a lot in ways I'm not used to have happen.
Well, yeah, I did Turtle Rock pretty close to last, and I did single dip it. At the point where I had to do Turtle Rock, I knew Swamp was a pendant because of Sarasala, which I did but didn't turn in. And I did another pendant dungeon. What's my tracker say? Turtle Rock.
Yeah, Pod and Turtle Rock were the other two, and nobody completed Pod.
Yeah, at the end of the game, I'm like, well, it's Eastern, Pod, and Turtle Rock. One of them's a crystal. Same thing. I had to do Turtle Rock because I'm like, well, bow on Trinex, Bombos on Trinex. I could imagine the earlier you went into Turtle Rock, the better, because Turtle Rock gave you Hookshot, which gave you Bombos, which gave you
Access to Meyer, which was bow.
Which was bow, which was go mode. So if the sooner you did Turtle Rock, the less you could stop checking all those other dungeons. Yeah. I don't know if Swamp was ever needed for anything.
Yeah, I definitely completed all of Swamp.
Yeah, I
And
got all 10.
that was a risk play on my part.
Was it Bombos and Swamp?
Yeah, the only thing that was in
actually,
Swamp
so
was
it was
Bombos.
needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't have to go all the way to the end, and you needed the hook shot from Turtle Rock to get it. So the front half of Swamp wasn't very good. Wow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's a crazy seed. You don't normally want to do those things.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of plays that I ended up making. Like I had to do double bomb jump in Ice Palace just because I'd wanted to check everything in Ice Palace first.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah, because the first run, like I said, nobody could have possibly had any keys. Both keys were on 2 different bosses, one of which was Cold Stare. So, that's one of the green dots still on my tracker. And when I got that bow and mire, it was a huge sigh of relief. I'm like, oh, good, I didn't lose the race. And then when I found the other Ice Palace key on Victorious, I'm like, well, I wouldn't have lost anyway, but ouch. Yeah.
Yeah, the item you left in Ice Palace was half magic.
Oh, yeah, that might have been nice.
That was nice. I was happy I came across that one.
Same. I'm
I
always
couldn't have
relieved.
spared another minute to go get it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, we were watching when fylion was racing. He had no magic while he was in ice, and we're thinking, man, where is he going to pick up, a bar and a quarter of magic to get through the rest of this? And he picks up half magic, and it's just perfect timing.
Wow.
Wow,
Nice, dude.
that's amazing. That's fantastic.
I think I had a blue potion at that point, so I was.
Yeah, we thought you had. Well, we weren't sure if you had that, but we figured there was a chance.
I had to burn my blue potion before I got to that half magic. I remember that now. I had to burn it in the freezer room because I was like half of a fire rod shot short of finishing it. Yeah, that sucked. I could have saved 160 rupees.
I think I've never finished a Keysanity seed with less than like 700 rupees or whatever, or any randomizer seed, open Keysanity entrance. And I think I finally finished this one with like 100. I'm like, well, it happened. Yep. Finally spent all my money. I think I used a blue potion at Aga 2 and then not at Ganon, even though I did it silverless. I assume nobody got the silvers, right?
No.
No, yeah.
Yep, they were in the basement of GT somewhere. So yeah, nobody had silvers. Only Invictus picked up the powder, which I believe was in Mire.
Yep.
But you did all have red mail. Catastrophe is the only one that didn't pick up Butter Sword. That was in the big chest of pod.
Big chest of pod. Right, yeah, I went to pod earlier. Right, was that the big key? Yeah, so I had to do it with tempered, but I don't think that hurt too much. So yeah, so I didn't do pod, and I pretty much go moded Mire. Bo was in the first chest I checked.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But I didn't do ice. So that explains all the other spots I checked. Plus maybe just being slow. Yeah. Wow. So I guess that's it for Keysanity, huh? Because now the tournament's going to end, and next tournament will be something else.
Well, we got the next round.
Wait, this isn't round 5?
Well, this is round 5, but there's a bracket now.
Oh yeah. I mean, I meant for me. Well,
Yeah,
all of us.
no,
Because now
we're
we're all
free.
2
The
and
4 of
3.
us are free.
Too.
Yeah,
we're
done.
free. Yeah. And then the next tournament, the devs are working on other Keysanity variations and the Spring Open tournament. So, yeah. Wow.
Well,
Yep,
I guess, what do you guys think about Keysanity as a mode, I guess, if anyone wants to kind of field that one?
It is my preferred mode. It has been ever since it came out. I'm still not terribly good at it, but I mean, this is the most creative, and I feel like it rewards exploration, which is just my play style, and I think it also rewards efficiency within those large overworld checks. So if you have good route planning, I feel like it really exposes the sort of the minutia, which is kind of fun. And I think that it allows, I'm not sure exactly what the devs are working on, so if you guys have any information, I would love to hear it, but just the variations that could play off of Keysanity, I think, are excellent as well, especially when you do like an entrance randomizer. By the way, if anyone's scared, don't be scared. You should try it.
Yeah, they're kind of nuts, the entrance Keysanities, but they are fun.
But like, same. Keysanity's my preferred play mode too, and I've been. There was a teaser plando during the last open tournament where they showed Ganon's Tower Big Key on pedestal, and I'm like, wait, you can do that now? And ever since, I've been looking forward to this mode. And I was looking forward to this tournament. I just assumed there would be a Keysanity tournament someday. So yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I hope we do it again. For what it's worth, the only development news I've heard rumors of was that they were thinking of a Keysanity variation where the keys work in every dungeon.
That is
I don't know about
definitely
big
coming
keys.
soon.
Oh, that's definitely coming soon? Oh, cool.
Oh yeah.
Zelda
a
1
few
mode?
streamers have been. Yep, a few streamers have been playtesting that.
Oh, cool.
And there are
Should probably watch that.
yeah, there are seeds out there for it.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool.
I'm sure I'll like that just as much too. Maybe we'll do a tournament for that too, maybe? I don't know. Start practicing now?
We'll see. We've got a few tournaments certainly on the docket. We've got you mentioned that spring tournament, which I'm not sure if they've announced openers or standard yet, but we've got that 2v2 tournament, which I believe is starting here in a couple weeks, which should be fantastic. It's going to be all kinds of modes. Everything except for overworld glitches is fair game for these runners, and they don't know what they're going to get until they get it. So I'll be looking forward to that one for sure.
That's really fun. That'll be interesting.
Just make sure you practice your entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of which, looking for a partner, if anybody's looking.
I might be tempted. I'd have to learn how to play it, though.
I've done a couple entrances, but I need a better tracker, I think. I like to track my entrances, like, kind of detailed. I mean, maybe with more practice, I could get better at it. Yeah,
I use pen and paper for it.
You know, that's probably the way to do it. You know, with open and Keysanity, you can just check boxes, but with entrance, yeah, pencil and paper probably.
Alrighty, well, I guess we'll wrap it up here. I'll just let it open to you guys. Just any final thoughts on the tournament, on how this race went, and then we'll kind of wrap from there.
It was an excellent race. I am in no way disappointed with the end results. Everyone finished where they should. I'm a little disappointed, I guess, in some of the risks and things I did towards the beginning of the seed that just sort of ended up, adding up to just enough to put me into 4th place. But otherwise, the tournament has been absolutely excellent. Catastrophe, you ran an excellent race. Congratulations. And
Thank
to all
you.
the rest of the racers, restreamers, all the announcers, Willard especially for sort of organizing this this whole event on a channel for us last minute. Thank you. And to everyone who's made this entire Keysanity tournament happen, you guys rock. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I just want to say, obviously big thanks to Sabo and Scooty and whoever was tracking this race, whose name I can't see on screen right now. But major thanks to all the Speed Gaming staff, and good work for putting this on, because we had literally 100 races per week for this tournament, and 90% of them got restreamed, which is just insane when you look at how many tournaments they had running in total. So big thanks to them, and particularly to Willard, who 15 minutes before this race said, hey, we're going to give a restream to this 2-2 race where no one can make it to the final 8. So thanks to everyone for running
Thank
this.
you very much.
Thank you.
Who is the restreamer again?
I think Willard is the one who's
Oh, he did it himself.
As far as I know, that was Willard,
yeah. Great.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
Willard MVP.
Yes, indeed. And also, just a random thought to all of the viewers. A, thank you very much for tuning in. And B, if you are new to Rando, please join us. It is a ton of fun.
Perfect comment to end it on there. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we're gonna have to call it here. Thank you to our runners for running an excellent race today. Our trackers, Hassel and Kippy 00, and my co-commentator, Scooty Puff. Thank you so much for joining me on this one, man.
Thank you as well, Sabatander.
And with that, I guess we'll wrap it up. So there is more Keysanity action to come, but for now, this is going to do it for us. So thanks for watching.